The environment is everything that keeps us alive, as well as our home. It enables us to survive by providing things like the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, our shelter, and more. As a result, protecting the environment ought to come naturally to us. Our actions frequently put everything around us, including ourselves, at peril. We should engage with the environment in a way that makes sustainable use of the resources that nature gives. We should ensure that our actions don't end up harming the environment, as we are the ones to suffer later. Mabuhay. This is Owen. Our lesson is focused on environmental care and how the virtues of prudence and frugality contribute to the care of the environment. Before proceeding to the discussion of the lesson, let us familiarize ourselves with following questions. They will facilitate the discussion of the lesson. 1. How is environmental care contributing to health, well-being, and sustainable development? 2. How effective is mindful existence as individual way of caring for the environment? Note that these questions will be posted while discussing the lesson. Answer them in order to get the main ideas of the topics. The first topic that we will be discussing on environmental care is mindful existence. Take note of the significant concepts of this lesson, so that you can learn how to care for the environment on a genuine manner. Mindful existence suggests ways how an individual can genuinely take care for the environment. There are a lot of ways to care for the environment. We are knowledgeable of these ways. However, we still fail to care for the environment. Unless we realize and accept that we need nature for our survival and that abuse of nature leads to our own destruction. There is a call to become mindful. Mindfulness is a way of living in the world where we are aware of the beings around us and of ourselves, with the desire to realize our best possibilities. What we need to realize in this, is that our best potentials as human beings is realized, when we act in a way that is genuinely creative in the world. Our potential as creative beings is dependent on our capacity to act in a way that we bring good to the world with the no harm if not least harm. We should be instruments for other beings to realize their fullest potential. This is how we discover our true genius as a species. This is our hardest but greatest task. Our self-realization depends on our ability to become genuine stewards in the world. Given the challenges we face as a species today, these are the particular themes we should keep in mind. As mentioned, mindful existence for environmental care considers 3 themes. The first theme of mindful existence that we will tackle is mindful consumption. People should be particularly mindful of how their consumption affects the environment. As consumers, we often overlook the processes that create the products we consume. But these processes growing, transporting, preparing, packaging all release carbon dioxide, which exacerbates climate change. In other words, in consuming, we actually leave a carbon footprint on the environment. For example, buying and consuming a product that comes from far away means that that product has had to travel, which translates to a bigger carbon footprint. The same can be said, too, of products that use a lot of disposable packaging or that underwent complex processing. Aside from a carbon footprint, consumption has a water footprint too. In the creation of a product, how much water was used? If not used, how much water was polluted? Good, mindful practices, then, in relation to consumption, would be to buy local, to avoid disposables and go package-free, and to be more sensitive and aware about what happens behind the scenes of production. This is the very essence of being prudent in our dealings with the environment. We need to govern and discipline ourselves by the use of reason in our relationship with the environment. Another theme on mindful existence that we will explore is simple living. It's one thing to want to live happily, it's another thing to harm the earth and others in the process of living happily. As the saying goes, live simply so that others may simply live. The more sophisticated and elaborate our life, the more impact we have on the environment. A bigger house, for example, requires more energy to heat or cool. It takes up more space and has more impact on the land. More luxurious foods produce more waste. More complicated forms of entertainment require more resources. This is a call for frugality, that is to live happily, by living simply and humbly. If we live simply, we are able to focus on others and become capable of responding to their presence. Try to take yourself away from the center of the universe, and learn to focus your concern on other beings. The more we can concern ourselves with other beings, the more we serve their flourishing, the more we will discover our creativity and human compassion. Practically, this will require us to creatively seek ways of finding fulfillment. Today, our ways of finding happiness are predetermined, are costly to the environment, and do not always lead to fulfillment. Often, fulfillment is measured by how much we can consume. We measure the quality of our lives by how many places we have seen, how much and how expensive our clothes are, how many Instagram-worthy experiences and stories we can share, and how much money we can accumulate to buy more things. But if we think about it, how many people are really made whole by this kind of living? Given how much it costs the environment in carbon, resource waste, and energy expense, we have to find better ways of finding fulfillment than accumulation and consumption. The best way is to find the best ways of exercising our creativity. People seem to be most happy when they experience love or build community and when they are creative. Think about it. Look back at the happiest moments of your life, the ones that make you genuinely happy to be alive. Most of these times are those spent exercising our ability to love, receiving love, and being able to other beings with our creative acts. It's even better if we are able to do things that enrich the existence of things and make people happy. The last theme on mindful existence that we will talk about is genuine action. There are many slogans that drive and animate environmentalist campaigns. While these have their purpose, we should also aim to go beyond them, and to be critical of how they are realized and implemented. For example, many neighborhoods have clean and green projects. Oftentimes, this simply means that they've decided to clean the surroundings, and to rid areas of trash. While good, such projects are not really about nature. They are more about people cleaning up trash in front of their houses, or clearing up empty lots. They do this because they want to see pleasant surroundings. They don't do this because they have gained a deeper appreciation of nature and its goodness. Clean and green programs often include the clearing of empty lots of unwanted plants and grass. It's possible that in doing this, we destroy the habitats of organisms or animals. Another example is reduce, reuse, recycle. While helpful, it has now been reduced to a melody line, whose significance has been forgotten. It also overlooks which of the 3 R's is more effective. Recycling and reusing are important principles to live by. However, if we don't reduce consumption, and our impact on the earth, even if we keep reusing and recycling, we will still remain the destructive beings that we are now. To really make an impact on nature conservation, we need to be mindful about our ways of living, about lifestyles. The environmental slogans we've grown used to have their purpose, but they can also lull us into complacency. Let us recall the intentions behind these slogans, and actively and mindfully realize and enact them. Genuine intention coupled with action is the formula for care. The heart of this discussion on mindful existence is simple. We are beings in the world, together with nature. Nature supports our life, as it serves as the site of our realization of our humanity. When we act destructively toward nature, we destroy not only our home, and host of our life, but also our human selves. Thus, the best thing to do is to discover our creative potentials for environmental care. As human beings in the world, we must strive to see beyond ourselves, and our happiness. There is, after all, good in the existence of all beings, not just ours. All things bear their own goodness, and have to be recognized for their goodness. Even things that can harm us, like microbes, and dangerous animals, have their own good, As part of an ecosystem, they enrich the world in ways we do not immediately see. Yet even if we don't see how their existence enriches the world, we need to see the good in them. We need to exert the effort to see the good in all beings. This requires appreciating how things exist, and their value in themselves. Once we cultivate this ability to see the good of all things, we will be able to respect them, and contribute to their good. At the very least, we should be able to act in a way that recognizes the tragedy of their destruction. As human beings, then, who belong to a natural community with other beings, let us exercise our creativity, and our ability to care for other beings. These are our most human traits, not mindless and destructive consumption. This means, however, that we must learn to be sensitive to the presence of nature by building a relationship with it, and by learning to listen to, and dialogue with the people who live in nature with us. Having discussed about how an individual can genuinely care for environment through mindful existence, we now focus our discussion on how a community can be able to genuinely take care of the environment. And this is, through sustainable development. A global call for sustainable development is being pushed by the United Nations. This recommendation for human survival was based on world studies. It is a complex but highly effective means for man to live a quality life, without sacrificing the other components of the world system. The definition of sustainable development is not nearly as simple as it might seem. However, the most common definition was defined by the Brundtland Commission in 1987, which documented sustainable development as, sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present, without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This implies that we need to look after our planet, our resources, and our people to ensure that we can live in a sustainable manner. Furthermore, that we can hand down our planet to our children and our grandchildren to live in true sustainability. To have deeper understanding on how sustainable development works, let us analyze the relationships of the three pillars of sustainable development. To achieve sustainable development, we must balance economic, environmental, and social factors in equal harmony. These factors are to be understood as environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, and social sustainability. Environmental sustainability as a pillar of sustainable development means that we are living within the means of our natural resources. To live in true environmental sustainability, we need to ensure that we are consuming our natural resources, such as materials, energy, fuels, land, water, etc., at a sustainable rate. Some resources are more abundant than others, and therefore we need to consider material scarcity, the damage to environment from extraction of these materials, and if the resource can be kept within circular economy principles. We need to aspire to net zero carbon and then move beyond to ultimately achieve climate-positive principles. Economic sustainability is another pillar of sustainable development. This pillar requires that a business or country uses its resources efficiently and responsibly so that it can operate in a sustainable manner, in order to consistently produce an operational profit. Without an operational profit, a business cannot sustain its activities. Without acting responsibly, and using its resources efficiently, a company will not be able to sustain its activities in the long term. Social sustainability, being a pillar of sustainable development, is the ability of society, or any social system, to persistently achieve a good social well-being. Achieving social sustainability ensures that the social well-being of a country, an organization, or a community can be maintained in the long term. It must be noted that these three pillars of sustainability must work together, because if we only achieve 2 out of 3 pillars, then we end up with equitable living. If we are to consider only social sustainability and economic sustainability, bearable living. If we just consider the social sustainability and environmental sustainability, viable living. If we are only to determine for economic sustainability and environmental sustainability, sustainable development cannot be achieved, If only one or two pillars are considered, it must be the three pillars, working together holistically. To reiterate, only through balancing economic, social, and environmental factors can we achieve sustainable development. In summary, this lesson on environmental care emphasizes the following. 1. Mindful existence is an individual's effective response to environmental care, that comes from the recognition and acceptance that we are beings in the world together with nature, thus we respect and care everything in the environment. 2. Sustainable development is a communal response to environmental care, that emanates from the harmony of environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, and social sustainability. Mabuhay. This is Owen, encouraging you to take care of the environment in mindful existence, so that we can be able to survive. Individual actions of genuine environmental care will create ripple effects, thus becoming effective.